Josh Joris is also a Leaf. But you know who else is a Leaf? Is John Tavares! Oh, look at Leaf fans! Getting your hopes up like you always do! You don't think he's actually gonna sign there, do you? Yep! John Tavares! He's coming home, coming home. Tell the world that he's coming home. Hey, you want to see a sexy tweet? Here's Austin Matthews, who is also a Toronto Maple Leaf, congratulating John Tavares on becoming a Toronto Maple Leaf. Wow, what a good tweet. Here's another one. Here's Darcy Tucker, who was a longtime Toronto Maple Leaf, and in fact was probably a Toronto Maple Leaf when John Tavares was a young child and a fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs, talking about John Tavares becoming a Maple Leaf. I enjoyed this tweet. Hyman, Matthews, Nylander, Marleau, Tavares, Marner, Janssen, Kadri, Kapanen. Fourth line, LOL. And how do you stop that? And here's one of the responses. I'm not going to put his name. You don't have to. You just make your way through their Swiss cheese D. The Leafs had a 105-point season with that Swiss cheese D. You know what they didn't do it with? John Tavares! Come on, please. That's too much salt for this Canada Day, sir. There's no need for that. Stay hydrated, everybody. Actually, you know what you can buy a lot of salt with? Is $77 million. John Tavares signs with the Toronto Maple Leafs for 7 years, $77 million. That's $11 million per. With reports that the Sharks offered as much as $13 million. So there's a few things there. One, pretty much no matter who Tavares was speaking to, they were going to become a cup contender. Dallas was a little confusing in that they're sort of in the same boat as the Islanders. They kind of have questionable D. They struggle to keep the puck out of their own net, but their offense is elite. The Leafs are a jacked version of that, except the Leafs made the playoffs. The Islanders didn't even do that. Tampa would have been unfair. The Sharks would be bonkers, and the Bruins would be heartbreaking and bonkers. So this was Tavares' choice. Dubas convinced him to do this. He could have gone to the Sharks, had an extremely good chance of winning the cup, and made more money. But he wanted to come home and help his boyhood team achieve the dream. It's so great that the Leafs have a bunch of guys like that, but they had to kind of draft him and get in early. Hyman, they traded for it, got in real early, developed him. Connor Brown, they had to draft. Mitch Marner, they had to draft. But a big name, not a big name, the big name free agent chose to come home. And think about this, all right? Connor McDavid signs for $12.5 million per season as a restricted free agent. So John Tavares, in his prime as the belle of the ball in free agency, you would think he could get more than $11 million, and by all reports, he could have. He could have gotten more than McDavid. But even though he was unrestricted, he took a little bit less money to come to Toronto. And some of you asked, but what if Austin Matthews gets jealous? Your question appears to be, is Austin Matthews stupid? From Pierre LeBrun, told Austin Matthews is absolutely ecstatic about the Tavares news. Matthews reached out to Tavares during the process, encouraging him to join the Leafs. You know, like not an idiot. Good players want to win, and this guy's gonna help you win. Math! Oh my god, what other angles are to this? Dubas ripped off Lou? Yo, lock up Nylander now before he offer sheets that dude. An extremely key thing that was mentioned on Sportsnet while I was watching the coverage and freaking out from Chris Johnston. Because people were going, oh, how are you going to keep together the core of Matthews, Marner, and Nylander? How are you going to be able to keep that together if you give Tavares all that money? First of all, you find a way. Second of all, Tavares had a 3-hour meeting with Dubas and company. It wasn't just 3 hours of the Leafs talking at him. You're figuring out where you're going to live for the next 7 years, and there's millions of dollars at stake. You might ask a question or two. And one of them, I can only assume, was, how are you going to keep those guys? A big reason why I want to play there is so I can play with those guys, so how are you going to keep them there? As CJ reported, part of the pitch from Dubas was, here's how we're going to keep them. Or at very least, here are some of our future plans. Hey, hi, hello, here's the tweet. I'm thrilled to be starting a new chapter of my career and life in Toronto with the Maple Leafs. I feel very fortunate, so do we, John, to come and join a team with a great young core that's going to be kept together and play where I grew up, learning and loving the game. I can't wait to get started. Me needs! Not every day you can live a childhood dream. Oh my god, this is adorable. Check out Johnny just sleeping through the haters. Here's the tweet. Welcome home, Johnny! I'm imagining he's wasted, double-fisted like he was at the Olympics. Now, I know a lot of you are wondering how this affects the Leafs cap situation, and let's just go to cap friendly, dude. Oh god, we broke it. Well, look, the Leafs have some space. Nylander's gonna take up some money, but Janssen, he's a young guy who needs a contract, but he'll be cheap. Kapanen should be cheap. Travis Dermott should be cheap, and in addition to the back end. There was some talk of, oh, should the Leafs move off Nazem Kadri? Dude, he makes $4.5 million, and he scored over 30 goals goals in each of the past 2 seasons. No, they're not trading him. Look, there's a salary cap. Each team in the NHL has its strengths and weaknesses, but the strengths are what make them special. Some teams are elite offensively. The Leafs are one of them. They were one of them, and now they're more one of them. Some teams are elite defensively, and those teams are in great shape. Some teams have a little of column A, a little of column B, and they get elite goaltending. The Leafs got a goalie. Their defense isn't the greatest, but it's got parts. Their offense is sick. Don't take away from what makes you special. The Leafs have already lost JVR. They lost Bozak. It looks like they're going to lose Komarov too. They lost Polak. I'll talk more about that in another video. This is the Leafs shoring up what makes them special. They lost a little bit on wing, but that was the area they could afford to lose the most. And they're going to help out those already amazing wingers by having a 1-2-3 of Austin Matthews, John Tavares, and Nazem Kadri. I do not care what order you put them in. Now, as I'm shooting this video, more info's coming out. The first 3 years, Tavares' base salary is actually less than $1 million, and the rest of it is all signing bonus. Now, what that is lockout protection. So whether there's a lockout or not, he gets to go shut up and give me my money. But I don't even want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about the money. I want to talk about John Tavares. The John Tavares is actually a Toronto Maple Leaf. He's going to be playing on the ice for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's going to be scoring goals for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's going to be out there winning games with the Toronto Maple Leafs. This is real. This is happening. This has happened. John Tavares is a Leaf. Not that high on cap space, but we got a ton of bandwagon space if you want. I did a live reaction to this, and I'll post a link to that at some point, either right now or at the end of the video. I don't know. I don't know English at the moment. Everyone, I'm going to be making a bigger, broader video about the rest of the NHL and the free agent frenzy tomorrow. But for right now, they got him. They got him. He chose to come home. John Tavares is a Toronto Maple Leaf! And I'm having a very happy Canada Day.